pray and spray wasn't quite enough for Sword in that game. Let's go back to picks and bans. I want to highlight the fact that we've seen Jungle Nunu here coming out from Sword. We've seen a Diana and an Ahri. I'm not entirely convinced by the Nunu pick in this composition. What were your thoughts?
I mean, the Nunu pick is interesting here. This looks much more like a comp from a couple of months ago, right? We didn't see that Trinity Force AD carry. The Ezreal, I thought they would pick up for Prey. But the Nunu, they just didn't do much with it in the early game. They didn't take advantage of Nunu's strengths. And even though I like Nunu a lot with Diana as well, because if Twitch dies, you have someone else to Blood Boil, and you can keep proccing that Diana passive. But I don't feel it takes advantage of Watch's mechanical strengths as a jungler, and is a really binary pick and didn't really offer a whole lot.
So CLG has a lot of experience running Nunu, and I don't like the fact that they ran Ahri and Thresh with Nunu, because if you're going to run an AD-centric comp, Thresh doesn't really provide that much peeling versus other supports like Sona or Nami, and Ahri really just has no synergy with a Nunu-based comp. You really want like an Orianna or something with a lot of AoE crowd control and ability to protect your AD.
I think Thresh offers enough peeling, but I think when you play Nunu and you end up in a 2v1 situation, you really need to put him top lane, help make the 3v1 really good, because Blood Boil and the Nunu, they can dive, or they can just safe push the tower down, and then they can start rotating around the map, get the bot lane bottom again.
You didn't like the 2v2 tower defense?
No, I don't think Nunu should ever defend 2v2.
Well, he's got such bad wave clear, you don't want to put him in that situation.
Yeah, unless you actually are defending a 3v2 dive, he's not going to do much. And actually, to sort of get back to the Ahri Diana point as well, like that combination wanted to get onto Genja, but they didn't seem to have the right combination. They never cracked how safe he was. And the distortion boots to flash away from Diana, honestly, Genja never dying in that game was really impressive.
Ahri could have worked, but I feel like he played the matchup wrong. He should have maxed his W. I talked to Nuke yesterday a lot, and he knows a lot about the Ahri matchup against Fizz. If Ahri maxes W, he can do a lot more. If Ahri didn't respect the Shen ulti either, went for a 1v1 against Fizz with Shen backing him up. So the main mistake there is also they're giving Darian Shen, they're giving Alex a free Fizz. It just didn't come together, and Nagne missed a lot of CS early in the laning phase. He really wasn't on the top of his game.
I don't know if that's like a nerves issue or something like that, but he was extremely unimpressive throughout this game. Missed a lot of his skill shots, missed a lot of that CS, and was kind of useless, honestly.
One of the people that did impress me in the game from Sword was Prey's Twitch. I did feel like it had a lot of damage, but it just felt like he was able to get singled out and jumped on by Alex many times during the course of those fights, you know, at the Dragon Pits and in the lanes. And it just didn't feel like Sword could stay standing long enough for that spray and pray to actually rip through all of Gambit.
Yeah, I think that's true, and I actually wanted to get a specific block just to fanboy over how good Prey is, because the dude, like, got caught and then said, just kidding, I'm not caught anymore. The cleanses, the flashes away. He almost, like, baited in Gambit to a few of those fights, and he put out consistently very, very high damage. And again, Double, if you're talking about running an AD-centric composition, and in Prey as a player, you can do that around, and he himself played it so well. Problem was there wasn't enough follow-up for his damage, it seemed.
And the big problem is that he's up against Fizz, and he's running Cleanse on Twitch, which is not really a problem. It was right for him to run Cleanse on Twitch, but he has no real like support, like shields or heals coming with him. So basically, when Fizz gets on him, he's ripping through a base HP Twitch with no backup, and all he has is Cleanse.
His team really needed an exhaust there, and I think his item build wasn't optimal either. I don't think he shouldn't have opted for the Blade of the Ruined King and just went for straight damage. Uses good positioning to get a really good ulti off.
Yeah, and just a final note on this composition right here, too. The Diana pick, Diana was very powerful a few months ago, but ever since the Spirit Visage changes, you know, this comp that we're looking at, Twitch is very poor at Siege, so they had no way to take down towers as 5. So at that point, you're relying on a split push. When you're playing against Shen, who's going to build Spirit Visage, you have to be very far ahead on Diana to actually win out in that split push battle, and I just don't see Diana in this composition for this use as viable as it was before the new Spirit Visage came in.
So let's talk a little bit about Gambit while we have some time. I was pretty impressed by the way that they played their matchup. It was fairly slow. I actually think if you think of all the fights overall, they tended to come out ahead in most of the bigger engagements after like the second Dragon fight onwards. And we've seen them actually picking up a lot of Negatron cloaks very early on. They were just littered down the rows. Genja even going, what was it, Bloodthirster Phage into Eye Edge, you know, just relying on Varus's passive for attack speed. Genja continues to do what Genja does and you know, trends off the wall those items. What did you think of their itemization and the decision making?
They had a lot of respect for the AP assassins, which was good, but their mid game was still really sloppy. They went again for a 50-50 smite, and this time they lost it, and it could have cost them the game, which they had pretty much 100% in their control.
Yeah, I think Gambit's downfall will eventually be their decision-making, because they go for a lot of risky stuff that won't fly against a more coordinated team. But yeah, they definitely outplayed Sword as the game went on. Like every Dragon fight you saw, just incredible plays from Diamond and Alex, and just overall their coordination just seemed a lot more solid than Sword.
Well, guys, with those final thoughts, we are going to go to another quick break. But when we return, Gambit looks to give Najin Sword the boot from Worlds and become the second European team to advance to the semi-finals. Don't go anywhere. The Season 3 World Championship, we'll be right back.